So my name is Andrea Salzbrenner. Welcome. Hopefully everybody's having a great time. Fantastic summit so far. Yes, like Allison said, I am a former student of the program she used to teach here at the high school, a program called Chef Training. It's not home ec. It's not a foods and nutrition program where you're making kind of domestic style setups for yourself in small amounts. It's a commercial setup. Where you ate breakfast this morning, that's our cafeteria, and we work right behind there. And it's a completely student-run cafeteria. Everything that is served in the cafeteria is made by our students. So it's fantastic. And so right now, I will be speaking to some of the initiatives that we do with our students, kind of ideas, both past and present, connecting to farmers, local growers, local food, how we use them in the cafeteria, and kind of the successes and challenges that we have with it. So Invermere is a small little place, and currently our school population is 408. But actually, out of that 408, about 25 are international students right now, coming largely from Germany, but Mexico, Italy, the Czech Republic, the Netherlands, quite a few international students. And being that a lot of people who are here to learn English like to work with their hands, chef training is a fantastic program for them to take. We can communicate through body language and through food, of course. So I'll be speaking to that a bit too. We have a lot of international students in our program. So chef training, like I mentioned, it's a student-run cafeteria. It's completely professional. All the students who take chef training get a taste of what the industry itself would be like if you were to pursue it professionally. They are expected to wear chef jackets, get their food safe, which is a permit that states that they're allowed to handle food safely and serve to paying customers. And they get a little taste of the industry, everything from high volume food production to professional French culinary terminology, which they really enjoy. I like to say that it's student-inspired and student-run because I find some of the greatest successes I have with the program is feedback from them. I like to ask them, what do you like to eat? And sometimes you get mac and cheese or hot dogs or something, but that's fine. But what I like to do is challenge them to, okay, you like craft dinner. Let's make a healthier version that's scratch made, and I bet you I'm going to change your opinion on whether that's better or craft dinner. And yeah, they like it. I find even my pickiest eaters, and they can be quite challenging, come in, and once you put the ingredients in front of them, they have more control. They see what goes into it. I find even students that are quite picky get more inclined to try it at least and actually end up liking it, and then even better, take it home, make it themselves, make it for their families, and then, as my coworker would say, kind of our job is done. We've made that impact, that connection for them, so it's great. We take a lot of trips to the farms around here. This is from Edible Acres in Windermere, and actually my first picture slide with all those glorious veggies are from Edible Acres as well. That bridges that connection. I find they love taking ownership. They want to see it. Talking about it isn't enough, especially in a practical course like chef training. We are up, we are moving, we are doing the cooking. Let's do the harvesting, let's do the planting, let's do the cleaning, watering, do it all. And it really drives it home. It makes that connection to them, and they like it. They take ownership in it. They take a lot of pride in serving those greens that they picked minutes ago and in our minute salad. So it's quite fantastic. We're very lucky. Everything is scratch made, at least to the best of our abilities. Sometimes I find it very entertaining when we find your ketchup's made from scratch, all of your salad dressings are made from scratch. Yes, absolutely. It's mind-boggling for my new students, but it's so special, and they can taste the difference, and getting them to taste the difference. Sometimes we'll do little taste tests. Let's compare and contrast that store-bought tomato that came up from California to the tomatoes out of our greenhouse. And it's fantastic. And then putting it together in a fresh way, and that's made from scratch. Speaking from a student's perspective, a former student's perspective, like Allison mentioned, I was a student of hers. I can kind of see an evolution that's come from the cafeteria. When I attended school here about 10 years ago, Allison was already making waves and everything, all this, and so I just hope to take it even further. But around the time when I was attending school, everything was still being made from scratch, kind of breaking the cafeteria stereotypes. It was not lunch ladies serving slop, you know, kind of the movie types. You can see what you're eating. It's nothing like mystery meat or all yellow food. It's all brightly colored, and it was still breaking waves at the time. And then we made some dramatic movements and eliminated the deep fryers from our cafeteria and our vending machines. It's still, as a bit of a historical mark here, a lot of the kids ask, hey, were there deep fryers and vending machines when you were here? And I said, only for a short period of time, but then they were gone. And it challenges how you cook, how students eat, but that's fantastic. That's what we want, right? We're not eating bags of chips and candies and snacks, and let's make it from scratch. You like cookies? That's okay. Let's make a more nutritious cookie that's from scratch. It's not Oreos from a bag, right? And they like the challenge, I find. Actually, if you challenge them, they'll do it, and it's a lot of fun. Then nutritional guidelines came in, and actually Allison was very instrumental in implementing that throughout BC. And so keeping an eye specifically on low fat, low sugar, low sodium content foods, and then to now where she implemented it and I'm trying to take it even more, emphasis on local food, the farm to cafeteria approach, really connecting students to their food, where it's coming from, getting them to actually touch the soil, planting and harvesting, the whole thing. I actually had a student this year who had no idea that French fries came from a potato. It's mind-boggling, but it happens. I see students in grade 12 come into chef training for the first time, and they'd never tried broccoli. And so they are my favorites because I get to challenge them big time. And it's wonderful to kind of blow their minds a little bit, get them to try new things. We're always encouraging them to taste. It's always, of course, great for them, as long as they're not taking a meal full for every taste. But it's lovely, and I hope to keep going on with that. Big successes out of it. They just really enjoy it, take ownership of it, and I think that's where I'm having the most successes with the students themselves. Making connections to the farmers. The students here come from kind of a 90-kilometer stretch, all the way as south as Canal Flats to Edgewater, Briscoe, Spillimachine. And so because of that, they're somewhat knowledgeable on different producers and farmers throughout the valley. So these are a couple that we make note of mentioning to our students, or we visit and check them out. And it's fantastic to see them say, oh, hey, that's my grandma, or that's my aunt and uncle. But even still, some that I know I've never actually had that before. I still only buy my groceries at AG or Sobeys. And, well, you know what? We're going to try some milk from Creston or some wheat from Edgewater. And it's wonderful to see their minds and kind of light bulb goes on and make those connections. Some pictures of our local harvest, and it'll come up again. But whenever there's local product being used, we draw attention to it, which is quite regularly. So they get to know the products, they get to recognize it. If they can source it themselves, all the better. So we have some veggies and herbs from the greenhouse that we work closely with, milk, cheese, wheat from Creston, and then more veggies and greens and kale and whatnot from Edible Acres in Windermere. Um, when students first come to the program, a lot of them, especially if they're new and they have known nothing about it, they expect kind of a home ec style approach. So what we do is have a local harvest lunch, I like to call it, kind of a welcome to the program, where we source locally sourced food, get them to produce it. We don't do a thing. We just kind of facilitate and watch, make sure nobody gets hurt and everybody's washing their hands, and get them to source their food. Let's wash it, let's pick it, bring it back, let's grind our own wheat and make some pizza dough out of it. And it's wonderful. Again, light bulbs go on and it tastes delicious, it's fresh. It's always a couple courses, which is great. They always leave with full bellies. Kale burgers, pizzas, greens, smoothies, peach galettes, you name it. It's really fun. And amazing to see how much we can source locally, which is, of course, the goal. This is a picture of one of the harvests, going down to Edible Acres in Windermere, even collecting flowers, greens, a lot of processing as well, being entering into the winter months. How do we store vegetables for the winter? How do we pickle things? How do we jar and can? In the past, there's been what's called kind of a grade 8 100-mile lunch. Again, welcoming students. High school here starts in grade 8 to 12 in this school, and kind of welcoming them with a 100-mile diet lunch. Again, sourcing food locally as we can, welcoming students to the school, say, hey, we have a cafeteria, you can eat here, and we're also using local food. So again, driving that home and welcoming them to the school at the whole time, or at the same time. The community greenhouse Allie spoke to, and we've had a tour of, I think, and we work very closely with them and try to support them as much as we can, going down and planting, harvesting, watering, pruning, cleaning up, the whole works, and then we're able to use the greens, vegetables that are produced down there. And again, then making some fresh pesto out of the basil that we're harvesting, or making minute salads, that I like to call them. And it's wonderful. Sometimes it's a little bit more manual labor and you hear some grunts and whatnot over it, but it's so rewarding, and they see it too when they get to eat it and process it. It's very rewarding for me too as a teacher to see. Our salad bar, again, putting control in the students' hands when they get to kind of pick what goes on there. Even my picky eaters have more success that way. The odd one will just take lettuce, but let's throw some fresh tomatoes on there. Let's walk around the cafeteria and have a taste test. Blind taste tests are really fun. I've tried to do a couple this year, kind of comparing and contrasting tomatoes that are sourced locally versus non, different cheeses, and it's a blast. It's number one, it's really fun, and it's healthy and delicious, and opens their mind a little bit. So then those picky eaters become a little bit more inclined to try the tomatoes, even though I don't like tomatoes. Well, maybe you've never had a good tomato. Last year we catered the actually slow food Terra Madre dinner here at the school, which was a large success. Some of my students there, and yeah, again, featuring local products, but then connecting with the community, bringing them up, showing them the high school, what we do, showing them the cafeteria, and allowing our students to connect to the community and see that, hey, sourcing local food, using local products, it's not as hard as it seems. It's delicious, and there's a lot of people who are local milk, local vegetables. Thank you. And yeah, it's great for even our international students, in addition to our local students, of course, so that they can have a connection too and feel like they're welcomed. We like to celebrate their cuisine and get them to help create the menu for the cafeteria that week, help us find some recipes. Then let's take that a little bit further, and you know what we have in the greenhouse now because we go down there. See what you can make using the products in the greenhouse. On the right are lists of recipes all created by our students, or at least the titles of them, with that challenge. After we visit some farms, find out which ingredients we can source locally. How about create a menu? Or how about create a recipe? See what you can find. Our kale burgers are actually so popular now that I actually get approached by people in the valley asking for the recipe, which is pretty fantastic because the recipe was created by a student, specifically using locally sourced ingredients. So great celebration of that, and they're tasty too. With some of my seniors taking that a bit further, not only are you going to find some recipes that feature local ingredients, let's do an entire week. Okay, we create our own menus on a weekly basis. We can do what we like. We have some little restrictions on healthy foods, but that's pretty easy when you're sourcing locally. And get them to write the menu. A little bit intimidating at first, but you can actually take chef training up to 4 times. It's different levels that progressively get harder as you take them. And they're pretty experienced by the end of it. And it's a great opportunity for them. And then if, especially being in a touristy town where a lot of young people work in the food and beverage industry, they're pretty prepared for going out into the work if they choose to do that. And then we like to have some fun too and really take some trips. This is a photo from the Banff Springs Hotel in Banff, and show them what a real commercial kitchen looks like, but not just a commercial kitchen, a big one with multiple kitchens on a very large scale. But with those institutions still having those locally focused kind of inspirations and going on. So it's really neat, not just on a small level, but on a big level as well. So yeah, hopefully have some questions. You're welcome to ask them now, and but yeah, I hope you learned a little bit, and if yeah, it's great, thanks. You can go on next page. Yes, sir.
So the students are in the class all day, in the kitchen all day, or is it just part of their academic day?
It's part of their academic kind of load. We're an elective course, and so I have 4 classes or 3, depending on the day, and they rotate throughout the day. And then their class, depending on where it falls, is either a morning, afternoon, or late afternoon class. And that determines kind of where they fall in the preparation and cleaning.
And 2 meals a day out of the kitchen, or what?
We're open for a 10-minute break, kind of a nutrition break, and in the morning, and then for lunch. So open twice a day. Yes.
You start in grade 8 and go on?
No, in grade 8 and 9, we have a kind of a home ec style setup where they cook for themselves. Then they enter chef training in grade 10. The classes that I teach are a combination of 10s, 11, 12 in each class, so that the seniors can help us. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm from Winnipeg originally,
Okay.
and there is a lot of the model of home ec in schools and a lot of, food nutrition classes, but not actually chef training.
Mm-hmm.
How creative do you actually get with the curriculum? Is it something that's already put in place by Allison or by a higher power, or do you
We can be pretty creative. A lot of I find the curriculum is really based around knowledge around equipment, sanitation, and that sort of thing. So as far as food production goes, the world is your oyster. Yeah, there's the odd little thing. There is influence from classical French cuisine, because that's where the influence is if they were to go into the industry here. So we do that too. They have to learn what a bechamel is, and a morning sauce, and a hollandaise sauce, but then still have that kind of local influence.
I can just add to that. There are provincial guidelines designed by the Ministry of Education, and there are guidelines that are setting objectives and goals, meeting those, but you're pretty free within those too. But we have quite strict nutrition guidelines in British Columbia. We were the first province in Canada to have those. So the teaching should fall sort of in place with that as well.
That's true, yeah. It's easier now because it was in before I came here. But very, very, yeah, they are quite strict guidelines. Watching your fat content, sugar content, salt content, but it's kind of it's ingrained into me already, so. But yeah, it's becoming easier, I guess, and even with the students. It's no surprise to them. They're like, yeah, we know our cafeteria is healthy. When new ones come in and they'll ask, oh, can we have something? The other ones who have been here before just kind of roll their eyes and laugh and say, no, we're going to make that from scratch. We can't just have pepperoni pizza. We're going to throw some kale on it. Yes, sir.
Any idea how many of your students stay in the industry or go in the industry?
I probably have 1 to 2 grads that plan to go into the industry each year. So far, my experience this is only my 3rd year teaching here. But I think it ends up to be much more than that. Quite a few currently work in the industry. And just to give you, I guess, an idea, last year, out of a high school population of, it was a little under 400, 80 kids took chef training. So. And it isn't an optional elective course then, so, yes. Yes.
Is there a post-secondary option after they leave here in the Valley?
Yes, in Cranbrook, in the College of the Rockies, they can pursue their 1st and 2nd years of professional cooking.
And also
Yes.
they can have it here, they can start their first level in the school. We've been accredited, so we've had students do their first level here.
That's true, yeah. An ACIT program, so they can actually get course credit within the school to pursue. Yes, sir.
I was just wondering if you have discussions with your students about how challenging the industry is that they're getting themselves into if they choose.
For
I don't know,
sure.
I come from 2 parents that work 90 hours a week in the restaurant industry and for a long time make a below average salary based on the hours they're putting into it. So I'm just wondering if you include discussions.
For sure we do.
Yeah.
That's not true.
I actually find that's kind of one of the benefits for myself, being professionally trained, and I worked in the industry for 10 years, getting my red seal, and I have a chef assistant, the same thing. It's kind of a reality of it. This is a great job. I love it. I get to work in the mornings and get to teach too. It's kind of the best of both worlds of teaching and cooking. However, it is a reality of it. You're working late nights, weekends, holidays, especially here, if you're working in a touristy place. So we talk about it, and it's unfortunate we have trade fairs, kind of reality of it, when the welders that are coming in and the electricians are coming in, and they're talking about starting wages being $26 an hour, and the cooking industry is 13 or 11, worse. Yes.
Mine, I guess, is kind of two-part. I'm really impressed that the province is able to do this. In New Brunswick, we don't even have home ec
Oh, is that right?
in classes, and so I was really keen and curious to see how it is that through the district or through Department of Education or whatever it is, that this gets mandated into a curriculum.
That's right.
And the second part is being, I know we switch over, we're in a big fight with Sodexos and big companies
Yes.
in our school cafeterias right now who, they have 5 and 10 year contracts, and we're trying to get them out.
Get them out.
And we're trying to get local food and local menus and that sort of thing, but even to get them out, they bring with them all their equipment, and then it's a $50,000 kitchen
Absolutely.
turnover. So.
Kitchens are expensive. We're
Yeah.
very lucky. I actually did my professional training in Alberta, and when I told people what I wanted to teach, they were kind of looking at me like, what? Like, you want to teach chef training? Because larger high schools had Sodexo and whatnot in there, and they were, producing previously frozen burgers and whatnot, and it was totally foreign concept. So, yes.
So,
Oh, sorry. Speak first then.
thank you. I'm curious about the international students. Do they come to go to high school here specifically so they can take the chef course, or how does that work?
No, most of them are here to become more fluent in English, although some are academic. And they just attend school like a regular student, and it just so happens that chef training is a popular elective for them because they're not sitting at a desk not talking. They're up, moving, and talking. And because we can talk, we can communicate through food. So it's just a good way to practice. And I find quite a few of them, even if it might not be their cup of tea, just through being able to talk and they're encouraged to speak, end up really enjoying it and become a little more fluent in English.
And I can add to that too. Actually, the greenhouse and the chef training program are huge selling features to the international program.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what, because especially the students that are coming from Germany have a very set curriculum and a very set system of learning. And they just can't even believe that you can go somewhere and do what they can do at the school.
Absolutely.
So it's really cool for them.
Yes.
So is this program unique to this school in your board, or is this kind of, are there other schools in the area that are?
No, we're very unique, definitely in our school district. And to my knowledge, I believe I'm the only program east of Kamloops.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of, it's 6 hours towards Vancouver.
So how do you guys fund it then? Has your,
We're self-sustaining in that the food that we produce from the cafeteria pays for our food. And then we do fundraising as well for special events.
so you're doing independent funding?
Yes.
But funded by the school system. Andrea is a teacher like a math teacher.
That's true,
So-
yeah. And then we do have a school budget for equipment yearly.
Okay.
Yes.
We have I come from Vancouver Island, and we have a similar program in our high school. We also have a slow food garden. And I would say that it has transformed our community. We have farmer local producers, we have a big community garden, people cook with local ingredients, and it's just, in terms of just community spirit, friendship, understanding of food, nutrition, it's a phenomenal.
Absolutely. I noticed that even here too, just the reputation that the school has, and students are excited to come in here, parents are excited that their kids are eating healthier foods, and I love it when I have a student saying, hey, I made this and this at home last night, and my mom and dad have never tried that ingredient before, they've never seen kale before, or whatnot, and that's so, it's wonderful. Yes.
Just a comment, I think, I don't know if anyone understands, but these students are all billeted with.
Yes, yeah, the international students are billeted with.
Yeah, it's not like they're
local
housed in a separate facility.
That's right. Yes.
About how many people do you serve a day, and what's their favorite item?
Oh, I think we probably serve, I would say probably 200 people a day, extending from just like muffins and smoothies to entrees, soups. But most popular items, I'll be honest, pizza was right up there. But pizzas, big sellers, some international things like we make our like spatzle and then our kale burgers, of course, with sweet potato fries. Yeah, I can talk about food all day.
I think we'll just take one more question. If there's, yeah.
Me? Sure.
Two more.
Sorry. I had two, so you can pick. One is, what were the biggest challenges in getting this program in place, and how did you do it? Or you can choose. The second question is, do you have, or do you know how many students are coming to school without lunches, and how are you supporting them through this?
Well, I can answer the
first one.
I can give you the information on the second one too. So this school was built in 1994 with the professional kitchen, with the intention of having a professional cooking program at our school. BC is very progressive that way. Professional cooking programs like the one that Sinclair mentioned in Soup, which was run by a good friend of mine, Pia, who sadly died last year, have been operating in British Columbia for at least 35 or 40 years. And they are reducing a bit, but they've been coming back in the last couple of years. So we didn't have to do anything to get it here. They had a hard time finding somebody to teach it, which is a very unique qualification that Andrea and I both share, to have a red seal and a teaching certificate. So, so that was one of the stumbling blocks. And then secondly, what I know about feeding kids in the school is that we provide, we use something called a gold card, which kids use as a payment card.
So they don't have to carry cash.
And so we provide those on the slide to people that we know. And teachers are the best ones to know. Teachers work with kids every day, face to face, and they know who is coming without food and who needs support. And so the food bank is partners with us on that by providing those cards. And that's what I know, but maybe
Yeah.
there's other initiatives.
The same, if it's more of a discrete thing, I know that our counselors that are aware of it, and most of them are, they'll purchase our gold cards, make sure that our students who are hungry get access to them, and that way they don't have to feel ashamed about it. They can just go through the cafeteria like anybody else and have access to good food. Funny story though, I had a student who was just a hungry teenager, and we caught him telling us he's hungry and not having enough to eat, and so there's a phone call made home, and Mom and Dad were very embarrassed, and we found out that said hungry boy was just chowing down his lunch on the bus every morning and trying to get free food. Teenagers.
Okay, I know that there'll be time later during the lunch break for people to ask questions, but I want to say thank you very much, Andrew. That was excellent.